Hi, my name is Greg Corning, and I am the chair of the Political Science Department at Santa Clara University. I'm joined today by Taryn, who's in Phoenix, and Sierra, who is in San Jose. Hi, guys. We'll see you a little bit later in the presentation. Our goal today in this video is to give you a brief overview of the Political Science Department at Santa Clara and what your experience may look like if you join us on campus. So I'm going to go to full presentation mode and start the presentation. So this is a picture of our faculty. There are 15 of us full-time. 12 of us are tenure stream, continuing faculty, and 3 you see pictured here are lecturers who teach 7 courses a year and are here for the whole year. So as a group, we are 15. The average length of service for the continuing faculty is 20 years or so. So this is a group that has long experience teaching, long experience with Santa Clara, are committed to the institution and interested in seeing our students succeed. We are also supplemented by a few practitioner faculty. That would include a retired military colonel, also a PhD who teaches courses in security studies and the military and politics, and a practicing attorney who teaches our course on criminal justice. Our students, you've met 2 already, and strangely enough, they're here again, so they're everywhere. We have about 300 political science majors, so give or take, that's about 5 or 6% of the undergraduate population. So we are one of the larger departments in the College of Arts and Sciences. I want to share with you a little bit about the discipline of political science. Pretty much any college or university in the United States will give you a similar introduction to the discipline of political science, which can usually be categorized by 5 fields. The first is American politics, where you may learn about Congress, the presidency, judiciary, campaigns and elections, interest groups, and so forth. Comparative politics, which, much as it sounds, is about comparing political systems. You may be looking at parliamentary versus presidential systems, democracies versus authoritarian governments. You may be comparing economic policy across Latin America, the US, and Europe, and Asia, for example. So they can be regionally focused courses or thematic courses. International relations, which is the subfield in which I teach most of my courses. Much as it sounds, you're looking at relations between nations, and that could involve issues of war and peace, economic relations, international organizations. So you may be studying the politics of the global economy, or, for example, you may be studying law, security, and force. Political philosophy, where you'll read some of the great political philosophers, ancient and modern. So ranging from Aristotle and Plato through Hobbes and Locke and Kant to Nietzsche and Marcuse and some of the more modern philosophers. And finally, research methods. And this is the area that probably distinguishes most departments in the country, differentiates them. The emphasis on methods. The discipline of political science is becoming increasingly quantitative at the graduate level. So many departments have decided to include more methods at the undergraduate level. And that's something that we've done. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in just a second. But that gives you a basic flavor of what to expect from the discipline of political science. Altogether, those 5 fields represent about 50 courses that you can choose from that are offered on a regular basis. So it's a fairly rich menu of courses from which to choose. In terms of the major itself, it's 13 courses. That may sound like a lot, but most students at Santa Clara will take between 42 and 48 courses during their time here. Because we're on the quarter system. Many schools in the US are on the semester system, 2 15-week terms. The quarter system is 3 10-week terms. As a result, students are able to take more courses. The average student on a semester system may only take 32 courses to graduate, but at 42 to 48, there's plenty of room to double major, minor, and explore other interests and take electives. I won't run through the details of the major itself, but if you look at the checklist on the right, you can see the lower division courses that every major takes, one in each of the subfields identified earlier, and kind of a unique course for us, Poly 40, which is the politics of the US economy, which very few departments offer. This is our own take on a policy-focused approach to what a student might learn in Econ 1 or Econ 2 at many institutions. At the upper division level, students have a little bit more choice, taking courses in 4 of those 5 fields, 2 electives, and finally in the senior year, a senior seminar, which is a more discussion and research intensive course with a cap of 15 students. I think the important takeaway from this slide is that there is a lot of scaffolding in place to help students succeed. So we have good advising materials. We have peer advisors. Taryn and Sierra are both peer advisors. We have faculty advisors in place. So there's a pretty good roadmap that students can look at and know what it takes to complete their courses and graduate on time and do well in their classes. Within the major, there are also some emphases. These are completely optional. Public sector studies for those interested in the public sector, public policy, public administration, international relations, and also pre-law. The one thing I would highlight on this slide is that you don't need a pre-law emphasis or a pre-law minor to apply to law school or to do well in law school. It's great if you want to take these courses. I encourage you to pursue your interests, but it's not something that law schools are looking for. They really are interested in a good LSAT score, a good GPA, and students who've learned critical thinking skills and good communication skills in their courses. You don't have to be a poli-sci major to be a strong candidate for law school. We also have an honors program within political science that's different than the university honors program. We admit a maximum of 15 students per year. You can see there are some curricular additions. All of the honors students have to complete a course in quantitative methods and a supplemental requirement. But the big difference here is a senior thesis, which is not required of majors in general. We like to think of the senior thesis as a 25 to 30 page paper of publishable quality. So the standards for that are really quite high. This, I think, may be one of the most important slides in the presentation. It's not specifically about political science, but trying to locate Santa Clara amongst all the choices you have before you. I've been in higher education now for the better part of 35 years, and I think this is an important takeaway for any 17 or 18-year-old thinking about college. You have many choices out there, and the good news is that they are all, or most of them, are really good choices, and it's hard to go wrong. But different schools have different kinds of missions, and that has implications for your experience. If you look to the left of the spectrum, you see research universities. So that would be most of the UC system in California, UCLA, Berkeley, and some of the big privates like Stanford and USC. These tend to be larger schools with PhD programs as well as undergraduate programs. And they're very interested in finding their PhD jobs as university professors. So the attention of faculty is split between graduates and undergraduates. Also, many of these departments, the incentive system for faculty is to become the best researchers they can be. If you go to some of these schools, you'll find some of the best scholars in the world. That's because they spend all their time doing research, and they're not grading papers, they're interacting less with students. If you move to the other end of the spectrum, liberal arts colleges offer a completely different experience. Many of them are much smaller. The faculty will be doing all the teaching. There are no TAs doing the grading, doing the teaching in the classroom. But faculties may also be smaller. In a political science department at a liberal arts college, there may be only 7 or 8 faculty members. At a research university, there may be 60, 70. Santa Clara, I think, splits it down the middle and hits a sweet spot in higher education. We're a comprehensive university. We have a law school and a graduate business school, but in the College of Arts and Sciences, we have no graduate programs. We have no graduate students. So faculty are doing all the teaching, all of the grading, and that has important implications for the student experience in terms of the preparation and experience of the instructor. All of our courses are pretty small. Our lower division intro courses are capped at a maximum of 40 students. Our upper division courses tend to have fewer students, normally in the range of about 20 to 25, but could be smaller. If you go to some of the large research universities in the US, particularly some of the ones in the Midwest, you may find an intro poli-sci course with 500, 600, 700 people. So the experience for the student will be very, very different. Also, in terms of what's possible for the student, letters of recommendation, getting to know faculty because classes are small, access is possible and highly recommended. So there's real opportunity for student-faculty interaction. Talk briefly about off-campus experiences, study abroad. This past year, we had upwards of 50 poli-sci majors studying in more than 20 countries across the world, from Asia through Latin America, Europe, Africa. So really global opportunities available for study abroad. We send several students each fall to the Washington semester run by American University. They're able to offer a little bit more depth in US politics than we can with our faculty of 15. We also have the Panetta Congressional Internship, which is a fairly unique opportunity, and Ciara, a former Panetta intern, can tell you a little bit more about that. But essentially, it allows one Santa Clara student and one student from each of the CSUs and Dominican University to attend an all expenses paid fall semester at the Panetta Institute in Washington, interning in the US Congress. We also have immersion trips, which are organized by the university. These are basically service opportunities. They might take place during a Thanksgiving or spring break, giving students to, for example, volunteer with Habitat for Humanity on the US-Mexico border. So lots of opportunities to learn beyond campus. That also applies to internships. We have partnerships with more than 40 offices locally, and that includes the local offices of US congressmen and members of the California Assembly, county and city offices in Santa Clara and San Jose, the nonprofit sector, for example, the Silicon Valley Leadership Group, the International Rescue Committee. Lots of opportunities for our students to have internships, and also not just internships, but also internship courses where they can earn academic credit and have the internship be part of a larger academic experience involving the writing of research papers and discipline reflection and sharing of about the internship experience and sharing of the experience among students in the class. A variation on our internships is the REAL program. This is a College of Arts and Sciences program that is only a few years old now, but is helping to support students with summer internships. And this summer, we anticipate 10 to 15 students interning both locally and across the US and in DC, and being supported with up to $5,000 in support to help them pay for living expenses during the summer. This is one of the nice things to be able to share with applicants and families. One of the really rewarding things for professors when you see a student not only do well in the classroom, but also become a part of the discipline, contributing knowledge. And we've been lucky to have some remarkable students doing some extraordinary things with their research. The Midwest Political Science Association conference is a real academic conference in Chicago every year. It attracts 2,000 or 3,000 political scientists from across the country. And in recent years, we've had our students presenting their research along with graduate students and faculty. So these are students who are not simply doing well in their classes, but they're helping to contribute to the knowledge base in political science. So you can see some of the topics that have been presented in recent years. These are some very rough estimates of where our students are headed, especially in terms of their initial placement out of Santa Clara. Some students may be only spending a year or two in Teach for America or the Jesuit Volunteer Corps, or working in a law office before applying to law school. But this gives you a rough sense of where where our students are headed after graduating. About 40% in business, many of them going into high tech because we happen to be in Silicon Valley, 25% in law, many in government, education, and nonprofits. That would include things like the Peace Corps and Jesuit Volunteer Corps. Finally, and just very quickly, I want to present a few of our alumni. Of course, these are a few of our most successful alumni. Janet Napolitano, now the head of the UC system, a former governor of Arizona and Secretary of Homeland Security. Gavin Newsom, a mayor of San Francisco and now governor of California. And Leon Panetta, whose resume would need a whole slideshow to try and fit in. So just two of his many major positions there, former director of the CIA and Secretary of Defense. We're proud of all our alumni, of course, and here are a few of the recent ones, and even one yet to graduate. Santa Clara as a whole has become much more deliberate about nurturing students for success in fellowship competitions and grooming them for success. And this, some of these are the major scholarship competitions, the Rhodes and the Truman, big names that you might have heard of before. Poli-Sci in particular has been quite successful with Fulbright fellowships. In addition to those listed here, in the past few years, 3 or 4 years, we've had other Fulbrights to, I've got to read the list if you'll excuse me, to Germany, Jordan, Vietnam, Uganda, Morocco, and Indonesia, among others. Also a Caro Fellow. Caro Fellows are basically interns in public sector offices, people interested in working in government and public policy. We send a lot of students to law school. Here are a few recent grads. We have a lot of our graduates going to Santa Clara Law School, also to UC Hastings. Over the past few years, other placements have included UC Berkeley, Duke, Michigan, Columbia, and NYU, and a number to UCLA also. It's not just law school, it's also different kinds of graduate schools. You see here a public health graduate, a master's in public health. We have several people going into public policy. Other schools that they've attended include UT Austin, the LBJ School of Public Policy, USC, Michigan. A number of students interested in international affairs, whether it's conflict resolution or security studies, economic relations. In addition to Middlebury, we've had students in the past few years go to the London School of Economics, the School of Advanced International Studies at Johns Hopkins, and the Sorbonne at the University of Paris with their social science program, Sciences Po. In addition to school, a number of our students also enter the workplace. As I mentioned earlier, many end up in high tech. They may not have training as engineers, but many of these tech firms are interested in students with good critical thinking skills and good communication skills, and our best prepared majors are poised to succeed in that kind of environment. Also, we have people headed to Washington, oftentimes after a successful experience in the Washington semester program or in an internship in a congressional office. In addition to some of the placements you see here, we've had recent students find jobs at Twitter, Amazon, Tesla, Google, and also on the public policy side, some going on to the California Fellows Program offered in Sacramento, in our capital in California, and also in the City Fellows Program in San Francisco. This is a snapshot of some of our students, and I'd like to use that as a transition to stop talking for a while and bring in our own students so they can share some of our experience. So we're going to unmute them, and we're going to start off with Ciara, who will tell us a little bit about her experience at Santa Clara.
Thank you, Professor. So yeah, I am Ciara Moezides. I'm a junior here at Santa Clara. I'm double majoring in political science and communication and minoring in AIMS, which is Arabic, Islamic Studies, and Middle East Studies. So specifically, my experience at Santa Clara over the last few years has been incredible, and I think that is really due in part to just the campus community, being at a small university, and also the connections with professors. Without these connections, I wouldn't have been able to pursue the amount of fellowships and internships that I have in the last couple of years. Education, attending class, double majoring, whatever it may be, is extremely important. But I've found that the most knowledge that I've gained from these experiences are actually from internships and fellowships, like Professor Corning mentioned. So I just wanted to walk through a few of those experiences to show what really is offered at Santa Clara in combination with being a political science major. I encourage all of you to really, when you enter at Santa Clara, to be passionate about what you want to pursue and say yes to as many opportunities as you can, because they really will contribute to more opportunities down the line. When I came here, I knew that I was interested in public policy specifically, and being a Bay Area native, I really took that opportunity to intern at State Senator Jim Bell's office. So this gave me a good grasp from the get-go of what exactly is it like to work in the public sector. After that, I decided to jump on a local campaign for someone who was running for Santa Clara County Supervisor. So I got kind of both what it's like to work in the office and out in the community. These were definitely starting positions, and I think that a lot of our students at Santa Clara have taken advantage of local and state government offices around the area. In addition to that, in terms of immersion trips, there's actually one called the Jean Donovan Fellowship that I had the privilege of doing actually after my first year at Santa Clara. During the summer, I went to Cusco, Peru for 6 weeks and interned at an organization that was specifically working with female domestic violence victims. And so that definitely gave me a better experience of being on the ground and what that exactly was able to entail, and really find that path of discernment that Santa Clara really pushes you to be that whole person when you leave this campus post-graduation. Following that, I think a lot of these experiences and opportunities where Santa Clara professors have really pushed me to outside of the box, to encourage me to find a certain club, for example. I'm the co-president of our Ignite National chapter here at Santa Clara, and that was really only because one of my Santa Clara professors told me about the organization, and he said it would be a great fit here at Santa Clara, specifically to empower women to run for office and to enter the public sector. And so I decided to do it. And I feel that if it wasn't for this small campus and being able to have one-on-one, relationships with these professors, I wouldn't get the opportunities that I have over the past few years. So through all of these experiences and talking with professors, one of the best experiences I had, like Professor Corning mentioned, was the Panetta Congressional Internship. So this internship I knew about coming into Santa Clara only because I was introduced to a professor at Preview Days who got to tell me about what Santa Clara has to offer. I was considering a school in DC as well, and figured after talking to this professor that, hey, Santa Clara might be the best option for me. And so what this DC internship actually entailed was a fully paid internship to go to Monterey and be briefed by elected officials and appointed officials from a variety of fields. And they briefed us for 2 weeks, and then we were sent to DC. Our cohort of 26 interned on Capitol Hill for 11 weeks full time, so there wasn't any school, and it was a completely immersive experience that really challenged me to think about what am I really, really passionate about going into my senior year. And so I took that experience and took all that discernment along with working with professors to then apply for the Truman Scholarship. And I was named a Truman finalist, the 5th in Santa Clara's history, which is really, really exciting. And so all of these experiences have kind of contributed to a better understanding of what I want after Santa Clara. And I don't think that if I, went to a big school or whatever it may be, that I would have been able to foster the connections that I have, been able to get the experiences that I've had, and just overall continue to be this whole person that the Jesuit values continue to preach at Santa Clara. So I think that kind of gives a good grasp of exactly what the student experience is at Santa Clara, and how when you step foot on this campus, you're going to be supported by not only students, but also staff and faculty. Take it away, Taryn.
Thank you, Ciara. Yeah, I think Ciara definitely did a great job of talking about the whole Santa Clara student experience here. I definitely think it's something that's very unique to us here. I'm gonna talk a little bit more about specifically the political science department and kind of tie in what she talked about to the community that I've felt here in the political science department. So when I started at Santa Clara, I was actually in a different school. I wasn't in the School of Arts and Sciences, and I definitely I took a class accidentally in the political science department, and I loved every second of it. I took Introduction to Political Science with Dr. Terry Peretti, and I loved every second of it, and it really inspired me to go declare a major. I definitely been interested in political science beforehand, but I think that just really gave me the push to have more of a focus on it here at my time at Santa Clara. So I joined the political science department. I think from the moment that I joined, I could definitely tell that it was a different community. I think at Santa Clara does a great job of finding community wherever you are, and I think that I'm lucky enough to have found a lot of different homes, as you might say, throughout the university. But I think that the political science department is really unique, and that I've felt so at home. The professors are so there for you. I think it is, as Ciara mentioned earlier, it's definitely a benefit of being a small university, is having that one-on-one time with professors. And so they're the ones teaching you when you go into the office hours. They're there to help you succeed. And I think that that's something that's so wonderful about this department, is that they are constantly working to find you the help that you need, to find you resources to help you become the best person you can possibly be. The professors are so knowledgeable, and they just can't wait to share their knowledge with you. And if you're particularly interested in something that they can help you with, they're there to offer you all these different resources. And if you express an interest in something that they're not specialized in, they're going to find you someone who can really have that specialty knowledge and really help you succeed in a way that I think that is successful for you. So they're not trying to define success as a one-track thing. I think they are trying to find success for you and what makes you comfortable and what makes you learn more and really have that whole development. Because I think that with the Jesuit values, it's development of the whole person. I think that the political science department does a great job with that. Also because that we are a small, our class size is a lot smaller, you get to know the professors really well. And Professor Corning mentioned earlier about those letters of recs can be really helpful because they actually know you. And I think that research also translates very quickly with that. because they could see how you work, they're often trying to bring you in on their research, and really, if they're interested in something that they see you also are in, they're really trying to draw you in and say, like, how can we help you develop this research, and or do you have some idea that you want to develop into this larger research project, which I think is a really cool opportunity. And I think that the community is just so prevalent here in the department. I think that they really just make you feel at home, and they're happy and they're passionate, and they just have so much care for the students, which I think is something that I wasn't expecting coming into college, but it's definitely something that I've loved and I've thrived with because of it. I think it also helped me find different clubs on campus, one of which is run through the department, which is Mall United Nations. It was never something that I was involved with in high school, but I accidentally took it my freshman year, and I've loved every second of it. I currently am the president of Model United Nations, and the last 4 years I've had the opportunity to travel to conferences to really take the material that we've learned in my other classes and really apply it. So the research that I've learned from my research classes in the political science department, I gotten to use that to learn more about countries that we're representing, and then seeing how we're reenacting the United Nations and seeing how people interact with each other, and using that international relations knowledge that I've learned from all the classes that I've taken to really apply the material I've learned to a real world situation. And I think that that's something that's really unique, that we've taken material we've learned and we've seen it on a broader scale. And I think that's something that's super cool that the department gets to offer as well. And I think that through that, I've also made a lot of really cool connections that I definitely have used throughout. And I think that kind of leads me on to mentorship. And I think that some of the alumni are so passionate. We have some great notable alumni, as Professor Corning mentioned. It's a really cool opportunity to get to meet some of them and hear their stories and compare their Santa Clara to our Santa Clara, and how things have changed, but how things have really stayed the same in that building of the community. And really getting to meet and greets, listen to their lectures, and having one-on-one time with them, I think is such a unique opportunity. But then a lot of alumni really come back because they want to mentor you, they want to help give advice and see how things can go on in the future. And I think that a lot of them stay connected with their professors. And so if you have a particular interest, a professor might know someone who's in that field that they can connect you with, so you can get their firsthand experience. And I think that that really just goes to show a lot about how Santa Clara and the political science department really are still here, and they're still super connected. I think that's something that's really unique that I've loved, and I've really loved every second here.
Great. Well, thank you guys. The check is in the mail. Famous last words. We'd like to wrap up today. First of all, just by letting you know that we've tried to cover what we can in terms of a quick introduction to the department, but if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. One option is email, gcorning@scu.edu, but I would encourage you to leave me a phone message at 408-554-4336. I'd much rather talk to you than send off a generic email to a faceless person in the ether. So I'd be happy to return your call if you have any questions. Finally, I'm not sure what stage of the process this video will find you. You may just be starting your college search. You may be on the brink of making a very big decision. Whatever the case, don't be too anxious. This should be an exciting time. I'm sure you have lots of good choices, and it's going to turn out just fine. Most important of all, trust your gut. And remember that the single most important ingredient in your educational experience will be you, not the institution that you choose. Of course, we hope your gut brings you to us, and we leave you with the parting thought of go Broncos. So thank you guys, and thank you for listening. We wish you the best of luck.
Good luck.
Bye-bye.
Good luck.